and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team pick.
Welcome back. My apologies, John. I kind of switched over to the draft a bit too soon. It is MLB DOTA and John Expire. We are back for the final series of the night between Boom Esports and T1. John, how are you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling great. It's been a lot of back and forth, a lot longer games today, but that just means more Dota to watch. And this time we've got Boom up against T1. It's not a matchup you tend to see too often. And well, T1, they did have their debut yesterday in the series. Not the best showing still. These teams don't face off against each other all too often. I think the last time they did was in Season 1 of the BTS Pro Series, where T1 did take that 2-0.
Right.
So we'll see whether or not what to do against T1, or if T1 still has that advantage. There is a bit of a draft going on. T1 very fast into the Beast and the Grimstroke. I like this one. It's a solid combo, gives you great push, and you've got the Soul Bind into Double Roar. So you have that straight up synergy there with the Grimstroke, and you have a great way to pin down that Ember Spirit from Boom.
That is very true, John. The one thing I do hope for T1 is that they've done their research, because earlier today we saw Boom Esports running 2 Medusa drafts. And the day prior they were running the Wraith King, so it's kind of like they're in this place right now, Boom, where they're just picking very, very tanky kind of pos ones that you just can't kill. And I imagine things won't change too much in this game if they aren't banned out. For now, both of that Medusa and Wraith King are available for Boom Esports if they so wish.
Yeah.
At Boom Esports, they do second pick the Enchantress, which has been a very popular kind of laning support to have right now. Just guarantees you the win in whatever lane she goes in.
Mm-hmm.
And they do ban out the Mirana, and T1 will have to make their decision now for their 5th ban out, and I wonder where they're going to go with this ban.
Yeah, I want to see some more Dreamosol heroes banned out. I think the guy just gets to do what he wants. That's something T1 should be careful about. As you mentioned, we saw a lot of Medusa. The Wraith King yesterday is just unforgettable, so we'll see if they are allowed to play that way. The Enchantress, you know, into the Beast, we've seen that so many times, right? Just a straightforward pick. You take the boar away, that ruins the Beastmaster in the lane, and T1 jumps straight to the Enigma, which is rather strong in this case because Boom don't have the best ways of canceling that black hole. They don't really have the heroes for it. Enchantress doesn't really get that work done. Ember with chains, it's risky to try to do that. So you should have a fairly good time here. There's really strong push as well from T1. You've got the Enigma and Beastmaster. So there's a lot of towers to melt with T1's draft, and not too much wave clear, although the Ember Spirit can do that, but you would want a little bit more from Boom to deal with his push.
Well, I was about to say, John, there is a Rubik still available, Shake is still available, and I think the Earthshaker is probably the better pick right now for Boom, because the Enchantress Rubik support duo is a bit weak, to say the least.
Yeah.
But the Earthshaker would work with that Enchantress, and obviously does work well up against the Beastmaster, the Enigma, cancel the Black Hole from a range, which is quite nice if you are that Earthshaker. We'll see what Boom does opt to go for. T1 currently just leaving those counters in the game for Boom Esports to take if they so wish. Boom are having a very, very long think about this one. And they will go for the Rubik.
Yeah, that should be Hyde's hero, and he does play a pretty mean Rubik. We'll see how much he can get. Not going to be too hard to steal that black hole, right? This is very straightforward for him. It's just the issue of the Enchantress and Rubik. As you mentioned, the duo isn't the strongest. There's some work to put in there for Boom as to how to execute their lanes now. We'll see how much they can push this out. Would be really down to the laning partners of each. So it's still looking like this is probably a Mikado Ember Spirit, just because, well, you don't really want the duo of Ember Spirit Enchantress and Ember Spirit Rubik on any of the side lanes. It just doesn't sound like a compelling duo. You probably will just set Ember down mid, and T1 now, they should be able to tie it up. They get the monkey. That's a really good response, because Ember mid, it doesn't trade too well against Monkey King. There's a certain point where the Monkey can kind of pull ahead just a bit early, so it's a decent matchup for T1 if they toss it down mid. They could still put it on safe lane if they don't really want that matchup as well.
It does really activate their draft and allow them to start playing that very early playstyle that this draft does want to play as well. We've seen Boom Esports over the past couple of days, they like to drag games out. They like to really buy as much space for Dream Assault as possible. And they will defend high ground up until Dream Assault is ready to go. But that Monkey King will make it so they can actually start fighting super early. And like you said, up against the Ember mid, it's not going to be a fun time for the Ember. We've seen it multiple times now. The Jingu Mastery, just a real pain in the butt for this Ember Spirit. Boom Esports though, their fourth pickup now, they go into the PA.
I like that.
Very happy about that.
I love seeing PAs come out. I think there's some potency here. There's also a lot of risk. Like, this is not going to be an easy PA game. You have to worry about the Grimstroke kiting you around with a Soulbind. You've got to worry about the Roar. There's a Black Hole as well. It does shoot online fast. I'm just not sure if you're going to be as explosive here. Boom. It's a bit tricky to maximize that PA. It's just going to be really hard for it to find that pace, I think, because T1 has drafted fairly strongly around control. It's still exciting to see. I think I'm just really hyped up. I love seeing PA. Just a bit biased for that hero. I reckon Boom could try to close out with the Magnus if they wanted to. We have seen Boom actually do the Magnus PA a couple of times. You've got the Ember Spirit who benefits from that as well, right? Like, it's a very good Magnus game to have for the value you get from Empower if you do go that route.
But that is a very adroit thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it's much more adroit, yeah.
So I don't really see the other SCA teams really running. In fact, around the world, I don't see any teams running that PA mag combo ever. But adroit always kind of brings it back out whenever they feel like they could abuse that combination. It could happen. You'd be forced to run the off-lane mag, so yeah, it's okay. It's not too bad. Usually these days, if they do pick mag, it will go to the mid lane. They'll give it that farm and XP priority, but we'll see. Boom Esports, they do ban out the Morphling as their final ban, and now into their final pickup here. What do we want in that off lane for Boom?
If they're not going to go for the mag, they still need a bit of control to play around to help them perhaps build off of whatever your Rubik steals out. FPZ, the Pango would have been nice if it wasn't banned out, so that's a really good target to ban from T1. We've seen FPZ play that multiple times. Maybe the Centaur comes out here just for more control. They go with the Dazzle off lane, so they're going for more minus armor. We've seen we've seen a lot of teams opt for the Dazzle. I think it's also a droid, wasn't it, with Ben Soy on that. So Boom is kind of just going there. It simplifies the build up for the PA. You will need a lot of EXP in that Dazzle. There is always that, right? 18 is the point where it gets insane. Beforehand, I mean, the lower cooldowns are nice. They're not exactly the most game-changing just yet. There's a bit of a longer time there, at least for Dazzle. T1 should be able to maximize that time where it's not going to be as insane, and they already have a really good lineup to abuse that. They've got great push, they've got great team fight, great synergy. Beastmaster Grimstroke is so good. Black Hole with Wukong's command on top, man, that's just really hard to play against. They just need to tie it up here.
Tell you what are we going for? They just need some kind of safe lane hero. The Lycan was banned out by T1, so they won't have the option of the Lycan, which would have actually been a really nice fit here with their draft. Okay, that works too. The Lone Druid comes out. We've seen this a couple times over the past few days as well. Very effective at pushing, very hard to deal with. They do already have the PA Ember, so you do have a way to jump into the backlines and find that actual Lone Druid. But it's not as easy said as when you've got people cutting like a Monkey King, like a Beastmaster, like an Enigma. You've got to be kind of cautious about how you make those jumps in, because they could easily kind of just be bait for Boom. So we'll see. This is game 1.
Yeah, there's a lot to show here. I think Boom's timing is going to be a bit harder to pull off. T1, with how they've drafted, are constrained by cooldowns. So if they're going to force fights, to look at the Beastmaster's Roar, the Enigma's Black Hole, and the Monkey King's Wukong. These are key to take those fights. Doesn't have big team fight ults. They're basically going to be depending on Hyde's Rubik to steal something big for their side. It's actually going to be, it's the Mikado Dazzle. It's the Ember.
Oh, okay, so they're running the mid Dazzle because they don't want to have to burst they don't want the MK versus Ember matchup, which makes enough sense. Because now the Monkey...
Yeah. It's just been a while since we've seen that one, but it should be a decent lane for Mikado. How much he can push out. I guess that does mean you expect a little bit more farm coming out from this Dazzle. Of course, I don't think he's going to stray too far from the Necronomicon build into the mech. Just too much value in that sustain and push. Beyond that, what he goes for next is pretty open, so we'll see as it unfolds. The key thing, as usual for Boom, is Dreamocell. Dreamocell to build from... I suppose he's going to have to go Battle Fury here if he wants, but Battle Fury Desolator timing is going to be key. Trying to outscale an LD can be tough. We've seen a lot of LDs really just take over. We'll see whether or not Miracle will just take control in terms of net worth there.
Well, we'll get into it. Game number 1 between T1 and Boom Esports. We'll start off with an immediate pause. It's been one of the... We talked about it before the draft really started, but that the games have been lasting longer today.
Oh yeah.
I disagree. It's just been paused. They've been dragging out the games haven't been that long. Like the last one was decently long. You know, almost reached that hour mark. But apart from that, everything else has been pretty smooth. It's just
a lot more pause.
A lot more disconnections. Wasn't those pauses to happen?
Actually, it's been kind of up and down. There have been a few 40-minute games, 49-minute games, but it's kind of weird. It's a back and forth. One game you have a really long in a series, then the next game is really fast. Just looks like it just depends on how the drafts unfold as well. But each one has had those long pauses. Every single game. I don't think we've had any other day last as long as this so far. This is day 4, of course, of the Pro Series Season 2. So, hopefully the internet doesn't stay this bad going on.
Let's see. I wonder if they're going to switch up in your Dream's lane, because he definitely doesn't want to be up against Dazzle. That is not going to be a fun lane up against Makoto's Dazzle. That Poison Touch really does ruin anyone in the lane, let alone if you're 1v1 and he can just continue to harass you out.
Yeah, it's gonna be tricky. It does look like they are setting IYD up for that though. I don't think they have anyone else to really send down mid that's not gonna suffer.
The LD would be okay.
I suppose, but that I don't think it's gonna be as smooth farming for Miracle there. I think they just really want to give him that safe lane priority, give him the easier lane without worrying about too many rotations in. Just ensure that he builds up on the bear. We've seen a lot of teams just focus on that whenever the LD is up. Timings for the Mask of Madness, usually really important, and yeah, just a bit more of a wait.
So I noticed you were asking these guys, Miracle I believe it was, you were asking about his noodle choices, John.
Nah, it's just food in general. This wasn't a noodle vote because it's like a Singapore, well, not quite Singapore, but you know, a medley of Southeast Asia versus an Indonesian team. So I was like, what's better, you know, nasi lemak or mie goreng? And Miracle's the only one to respond. He likes nasi lemak more. I'm kind of partial to that as well. Nasi lemak's really nice. It's a guilty pleasure. Probably not too good for you because it's pretty oily, but it is good. And Miracle was very dismissive of mie goreng, just saying it's just fried noodles. Ugh. So he has a bit of a refined palate. He has a refined palate. He's a refined palate, a refined player playing a refined LB. Just refined all around, Mike.
I believe he recommended Stingray, did he?
Yeah, he did. Fried stingray in Singapore. Out of the 8 years I stayed there, never got to try one. I don't know why. I've never had the opportunity. Maybe it's cost. You know, I was pretty broke in Singapore. You know, I was having $2 meals a day. $10 for a meal was like extravagant for me. That kind of put stingray and seafood, for that matter, out of my reach. So never got to experience that. I did have a lot of otak, fish paste and wrapped in banana leaf. Really nice stuff. Not quite the same, but you know, stingray's a fish, and the stingray Miracle was suggesting was wrapped in banana leaf. So in a way, I've had something similar on a very low budget, I suppose.
Thank you for that, John. We have to go ahead now. They're just going to test to see if the lag issues have been removed. Alright, so Makoto's definitely going mid, and yeah, In Your Dream is still running mid. He has the item built there with the shared tangos. See how he puts up with it though. Like it's a very rough lane for a Monkey King to have to deal with. But you can try and stay at range and just secure CS. But even then, the Poison Touch range is quite long.
That it is, and they've actually got Miracle on standby. He's only scouting around with a bear. Perhaps they're considering swap out there.
I think they have to. I don't think this is a good idea for T1 to run the MK Stazzle.
No, it's definitely a tricky lane. You will have to maybe slow down Miracle's timings, but you definitely give your Monkey King a bit of an earlier start. Yeah, no, they hand the tangos over to Miracle, and you do see 6 tangos up now on IYD, so they are gonna put Miracle down mid, just avoiding that very, very unfavorable matchup.
Yeah. Much better. Not to say that Boom Esports can't just switch the lanes over if they really want. Again, BD may decide, hey, maybe I should go mid now. But overall, I think FBZ is just going to stick around in this off lane, put up with it. Hyde will be there to help him out anyway with the Rubik, so it's not all bad. Still a lane with Joe Cam here as well on the Grimstroke. Basically, if they land the Inkswell somehow, like if Joe Cam gets in there with the Inkswell, you're kind of dead.
Oh yeah.
Either of these heroes.
Yeah, it's going to be down to the supports and how they apply their presence. Of course, FBZ forced to go for Searing Chains 1 means there's not much you can do in this initial level, and
it's too much time doing that. Much prefer just getting those denies and CS off against the Flown Broad.
So it's too.
See on this dazzle, really nothing to threaten him. He's really forced to stop him. Well, pretty much every second he doesn't have to hit a creep, he's just that there. Like, there's that point to touch. A fair bit of damage, you can just refresh it, but Dakota won't bother. More important. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, Forev is currently getting sniped right now by his own ball. Kescute enchanted it, Forev now in a lot of trouble. Dream is still diving with the getting it juked out. Paulson does TP in just in case. Dream is still realizing it's totally worth missing out on that hit. Now Kescute's going to be in trouble. He's going to get chased down and will go down. Forev finds the first one.
Yeah, that's really deep dive coming out from Boom, and they've got the numbers advantage. It was a 2-to-1 lane. They still give out the first blood a bit recklessly, and that is going to help for a recovery. He wasn't doing too much. He had to contend with Enchantress continuously stealing that. He got Paul in the jungle, so he's not going to help out. But just one kill, I think. Forev is going to be happy with how this lane is turning out.
The Beastmaster, like, you don't necessarily need to win the lane, but you definitely want those levels up. Just don't want to feed away too many kills. Not an easy lane up against the enchanters. It's gonna be very
early Searing Chains does pay off in the end, and FBZ gonna be glad to pick that off. Still IYD's finding a lot of farm. You're not quite slowing down this Monkey King.
I don't think you can though. Slow down the Monkey King this lane. I think FBZ's choice here is to just make what he finds fun.
Yeah, it's the best you can hope for, and well, Jokam is kind of obliging, has to watch his again, is more than likely just going to be a chance and sleight of fist build for FBZ, so the damage is going to be there early on, and Jokam can't afford to overextend too much.
Yeah, there's literally no value in the Flame Guard this game. There's hardly any magic damage on C1. In your dream, though, going to dive in onto FBZ. You don't have the Ink-Swell coming out. Stroke of Fate is there. Jokam just never Ink-Swell. In your dream, looked like he wanted to make a chase, but just never got the chance.
Yeah, that would have been a kill for sure if Ink-Swell was running on top. Although they are going to pressure for runes.
Absolutely. Still may go for it, and now may die. He did fight, but he does not have lift available, and that will mean In Your Dream should be able to secure the kill, and he does. And John can't even bother trying to continue fighting for that.
Yeah, that's a bit strange. Still, Boom gets punished, 1 benefits, and overall a nice smooth start for T1. You even see Forev just TPing out from dropping low, and with Paulson away from this side of the jungle, he can go in and perhaps find some farm for himself.
Yeah, he'll just farm up the jungle. Beauty of the Beastmaster, you can just go to the jungle if your lane's too hard. This is going to give Dreamsell a completely free lane though. And as we've seen from previous games, that is not generally a good idea. You are the opposing team. So Woods enjoy himself down this top lane. Yet to see what kind of item he goes for. The mid lane Murray has the Pure Ink spawn up, gets the fear off, and does kill off Makoto. Nice rotation out from Jokam.
Yeah, and T1 are still finding these big early pickoffs. Boom, they are still a bit ahead in terms of farm. Like, you're still seeing Mikado up there, and Dreamwhistle as well. Ooh, a really big pickup on IYD.
Well, they saw Jokam rotate to the mid lane, so they just make the jump straight away on that Monkey King. That's kind of where the Monkey King's weak. Great in a 1v1 matchup, but once you add 2 heroes up against him by himself, he's very susceptible.
That's something T1 has to be really disciplined about. Again, at this point, you've basically got 3 heroes in the jungle. Forev just occasionally dips out, but Paulson has spent time there. So the moment you pull one of those supports, Boom knows it's an opening to go for.
I'm curious, what kind of item build do you think Dreamwhistle's going to go for this game? Do you just rush the Despo? Do you bother with Battle Fury this time around? I thought Forev's going to get dumped. No, he'll take B and be fine. Do you bother with the B Fury?
Get a bear, or if you're going to be trying to clear out those creep waves, and accelerate farm. I think if you stall this game out as the PA, you might as well go for it, although Miracell is going for the Desolator, so just wants to play fast and early. That's a really strong way to go about it as well. You've got the Dazzle for additional minus. Take advantage of that squishiness very early on.
Wasn't smoke rotation out between one and mid lane. They did run into hide, but never really were able to break the gap. Now Paulson's going to group up there with Miracle in the mid lane. Oh, Kev's cute. Gotta be careful. He might get rooted in place by the Spirit Fist. No entangles coming out. Now, boom, look ready to fight back. They definitely don't want to give this mid tower. Spirit Bear copying a hell of a lot of damage, but he does get it out in time. Team 1 just really wanting to start focusing down objectives. Even Dreamercell grouping up mid.
Yeah, I think this is the right way to play for T1, right? They've got the Enigma, they've got the early Necronomicon 1. Turn the LD. The objectives are the name of the game, and applying that pressure early is forcing some movements out from Boom. So you see Doom is still kind of slipping out, and that's time where he's not farming up. The only really here left alone is FBZ, and he has his earn out, going straight for that Spirit Vessel. Once that's up, you take a lot of the sustain away from both the LD and the Monkey King.
FBZ's continue farming away on December. Jokan will take over the mid lane, get himself his level 6. Green. Currently sitting in a tree, just waiting to see if he can go into FBZ. It looks like Boom Esports is going to start to push up to the top tier 1 tower. More TPs to come in. Now the final screen onto Mikoto. That's kind of weird, but Paulson is there. Black hole available. They need to come in just to make sure they can secure this kill. Now the chase is on for FBZ. He does have remnants available. Trying to juke them out for now. Dream does jump out. BZ should just be perfectly fine to walk out of this, although no, Primal Spring will be there. Now Chains out from FBZ. Does find himself a barrier as well on his way out, and they just can't lock him down.
Yeah, it's a nice dancing around from FBZ. Holds the creep wave as well, so he's gonna find some farm on top of the bounty runes. Always a bit of a nice bonus to have as the Ember.
Keep working towards that Spirit Vessel. It's not going to feel very nice though, losing that Dazzle, Dakota. Understanding, like, every time that black hole is available, they will probably just commit it on him. Just to make sure he can't shallow grave or do any other silly things to survive.
Yeah, I see better early black holes we've seen as well. Like, you tend to see a lot of teams just sit in the black hole, not really use it. Paulson doesn't hesitate. Joins his team early and understands that they do want to secure some early momentum here, as it's still maintaining a 1k net worth lead. Like, they're still finding farm on their Dazzle, on their PA. They don't really have the solution just yet from T1. In comparison, Merrick is still trying to build up. Does have the phase on a bear. You don't quite see that Mask of Madness just yet.
Maybe he is. Maybe just bought it out. Won't matter though. The T1 is definitely going to go down here. Same thing happened in the top lane as per usual. Boom is also there up the top lane as T1 goes down. Of course, Dakota doesn't have the Necro 1 book, so it doesn't take too long. That's for sure.
Just issues with keeping people down here from Boom side. Everyone just TPs in front. They know Dreamocell can't stun them. They know Hide. It's a really long cooldown on telekinesis sometimes, so once that's expended, they're just safe to leave, and once again, Paulson just gets out. Now you have the Mask of Madness and Miracle, so Bear can start farming a bit faster.
To be on top of that intimate raw.
Wow.
Forever, not wanting to waste any form of time. Commit the roar and get out of there. It is a very fast-paced lineup after all. You get a kill, you just leave.
Yeah, they are just trying to maximize that. That's fair. FBZ copying a lot of damage, IYD.
Now,
He has
Fox is
remnants.
up, but yeah, he doesn't want to hold on to that balance.
And again, as the farming game goes on, Boom is actually fighting a bit more. Still maintaining a 1k lead. Dreamosel still saving up for the later. Almost up. One part away.
Miracle is right behind him. Cam's falling very low. It does go down. T1 can't really fight back right now, so they'll have to leave. That's one of the negatives about committing the roar is you can't really go back in to a fight like that. But it's only the Grimstroke game, so they're not going to be too bothered by it.
Nah, definitely not. You do have Miracle still farming up. That's gonna be enough to keep T1 happy. You've got decent progress on IYD as well, saving up for that Echo Saber. So that's gonna be important for him to start coming online. But you start to worry about certain timings. FBZ is inching closer towards that Spirit Vessel, just about 1,000 gold off from the recipe. And again, that's when it really sucks away the Monkey King, sucks away the LD's stain. So these heroes are not going to be as tanky as you'd expect once FBZ is on top of them with that item. And of course, again, the Desolator from Dreamosel just means he's going to break people down. So the stall game is helping Boom. This is also giving Mikoto levels to build up. Really wants that 18 fast just to have that bad juju up and running and saving up for the Guardian Greaves. So again, that sustain from the Dazzle going to kick in. And T1, and besides those items on their Monkey and LD, Forev is still saving up for his first Necronomicon. It's been a slow game for him in the off lane.
Yeah, it definitely has. Interestingly enough, the Pulse and Enigma is going for the Guardian Greaves build straight off the bat. Now we've been seeing a lot of blink rushes these Enigmas after Necro 1. Not sure if this is too greedy from Pulse. Like, it does suit the style of the draft, but you may want that blink initiation up against a team like Boom Esports.
Yeah, I think the main issue with going for the blink early is that you are exposing yourself to the Rubik's Steel. So I guess they're trying to distance themselves from focusing on the black hole because it can turn against them. They're just opting for a safer play, stable push, stable sustain, and only the black hole use when they know the Rubik's not going to steal.
Your Dream now does have the Echo Saber up on the Monkey King, so look to him to start making rotations. Same thing goes for the Desolator though. Dreamosel has the full Deso up. Now he's really just going to be getting through the HP pools of people very, very quick. May have a chance to use it soon. As bot lane, Miracle trying to go on to Ken. But no. The mechanism does come out from Mikoto. Meanwhile, mid lane, in your Dream, does end up dying to Dreamosel.
Oh man, just the damage coming out from the PA can be a bit disgusting. And bot lane, they did commit the roar for that, and they don't even find a kill in KezQ.
Well, that's not good, because FBZ is in the chase now. He gets the chains off onto Jokan, who can't really find a soulblind target. He's just gonna hold on. Miracle Spirit Fan, meanwhile, copying a lot of damage, and this is gonna die. He'll respawn it up down. Getting the Tangle there. FBZ and now the E4 comes down with the soulblind. Double down on this with the stroke of fate. But the Shallow Grave will keep him up. Dreamosel more than happy to keep fighting. That's a lot of damage on the poor Spirit Fan. They're okay with the way that fight went apparently. They're gonna back up.
Yeah, they already dropped FBZ. I don't think there's any more to find. They're gonna be sad forcing T1 to clump up. They're not farming this downtime. You already found the kill on IYD anyway. Just go back, build up, wait for FBZ to be back, and you can start fighting again if you wanted to. But I think this is time for Boom to just play the game. Dreamosel is saving up for BKB. Once that's up, you worry about maybe the black hole and more likely the roar. But Forehead has been so gun keen, trigger happy, right, with the roar that any target's a target for him. And that is kind of costing them as Boom does smoke up.
up toward that top lane. Want that lone druid. He's spotted out now, immediately dies. He doesn't have the morph, so he can't really go into that melee form. Now, Battle wants to what to do. They go for the raw onto the dash. He's not high fast, they move on to get him now. A double change. Black Hole don't have to be there, but it's immediately followed by the Ruby. Right hand in the dream is going to go after him. Oh, catching up to Fred will die. In the dream will die. Joe Cow will also die. It's a full team one. So easy.
Oh, that is exactly what T1 did not want. They can't afford to black hole without knowing where the Rubik is. And again, 4F commit early roar onto the Dazzle. That's exactly what they want here from you. They don't care as long as Dreamo Cell gets to run around, and FPV gets to run around doing what they want. A free Roche going their way. So now you've got to contend with a very early Aegis on Boom. And they're just continuously growing this lead.
That they are. We're going for a BKB up next on the PA. He is farming a little too PA right now. They are not really able to keep up on the side of T1. Back at Miracle, he of course has Master Madness, trying to probably build into that MKB again. That will definitely help in killing Dream Soul. Got off a Dream Soul, his damage is really starting to skyrocket. They really don't have to with killing off this lone druid at all.
No, he's been just super squishy. He doesn't have any defensive build, and that Spirit Vessel and FBZ is just so much value since you're not gaining that added durability from this hero anyway. So it's not quite tying in together for T1. They went for a push strat, but they've only taken one tier 1 bot. They haven't found any other objectives. This is hurting them. They need to find a push, find a way to get these objectives to give themselves a goal boost. Because as this game goes on, certain time bombs going off. Mikado, once he hit 18, you struggled now. Imagine how much harder it will be once he has a 20-second Guardian Greaves.
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, oh, maybe it will because he's 3 at 14, so it's a bit of time, but it's only gonna get worse as time goes on. This draft of he was really reliant on trying to hold the game early on. We know heroes like the Monkey King, they don't tend to scale very well to the late game, and well, he's trying to pick up a Deson in your dream. But Space Force aren't letting up on this aggression. Into the mid lane they go. They're being lifted up, that's the real target. He is worth 300 gold on that there. And Dream Yourself, perfect timing, done swiping. FDZ, Johnson gets brought up by Korea. There's no follow-up for him. Korea losing so much HP, Soulmind will come out and force them back with Bang. It's a lot of damage, but it's not quite enough, I don't believe. Dream Yourself has the 8 anyway.
It's really nothing to worry about. Oh no. Reese might...
They won.
And for Dream Yourself to finish the BKB, it's not going to be worried. Next thing he engages, he can just engage and come back in.
Just see the constant heals coming from Dreams as well from Kodo. He's going to jump onto the ball, clearing up all the units that T1 are bringing up.
And this, there's one counter synergy coming out from T1. The Midnight Pulse clearing trees means that IYD has very little space to play sneaky. That mid-tier 2 just completely cleared out. There was no room for him to even just camp and find pickoff. This is slightly hurting T1 as they can't have their monkey jump the backline when there are no trees.
That is true. Maps are only getting worse as well. You look to that really Klein has the blend off, as well as the 8th lens. So now you're never getting that black hole off without him stealing it, unless he's dead. So watch out for that roar as well if you are for Rev. very, very dangerous. Give that rule away to the Ruby. Dream Missile will be on the side jungle. Not going to be afraid of that. We'll find Joe
是
Can.
一个没有感情的发情体系。
Yeah, just sharing the gold, sharing profits, Hein. And be happy with that, of course, as you mentioned with the Blink 8er. It's gonna be really easy for him to take control here, and T1's gonna have to be a bit conservative. They smoke up, but that's broken by FPZ.
Yeah, it is. Now the tree line getting removed there by FPZ as well. Bolton has the black. How do you commit it? They're going to jump in straight away. They want him to use it. He will not yet. He will midnight pulse. He puts the man in the back. Bolton does end up dying now. Roar is there on FPZ. Bolton will buy back into the team fight. FPZ getting low, but the shallow grave will save him, but they do get the ages. Maybe this is it. Black hole. 8 minutes now. Yule's up. Be careful, the Dream Cell will get out of there. Soda also trying to get out in your dream, trying to find that 9 time on time. It's not going to be enough, and now Dream Cell, he jumped back in. It's the great opening, entangled, and he will end up dying. Now the come for the Eastwell. And Boom Esports, they go way too far. That is a lot of gold, a lot of XP that's going to go to the way of T1.
Yeah, that was really reckless coming out from Boom. They did force the buyback out from Paulson, so that's something for them, but big swing the way of T1. That does allow them to slowly build up, and that should allow them some progress in certain items as well. You've got the MKB up and running and Miracle, so his bear just does a lot of damage when given the opportunity, and IYD, he's just about 400 gold away from finishing that desert. So these things are coming online, and Boom, they need to protect Hyde.
That they do. T1 going into that bit. Was very far forward, getting drawn up again, but the Ingswell did not connect, and they don't want to go any further.
Yeah, it's would have been nice to get that pick off still. Boom, they don't look too weary. They know the black hole's not up. They can keep fighting.
They just want to keep going. Dream the song. Sees Joe Can. Daggers Joe Can. Probably will keep on Joe Can. They know the rules are up as well. That BKB setting him from the theater, and Joe Can does get killed off. Mind you, that is your 9-second BKB charge being up for that support kill. But on top of that, you do get pretty much every value on the map, so I guess it is worthwhile.
Definitely is. Oh boy.
Now he's making it really worthwhile. What of the bounty?
That's not it though. Definitely not the way you want to trade, and that is gonna set T1 back just a bit. He's back to just waiting for 400 gold on the Desolator. He just needs to play safe, and he'd have that item up and running. Boom. They're gonna take that kill. They're gonna go ahead and shove that bot tier 1, and you look at Dreamo Self hang out the Basher into the Abyssal. So he's at the point where he can get the control by jumping in, and even the daggers start to become a very big threat in these fights.
It's problematic once the Abyssal's off. He's not even gonna back off now. He just wants to go straight to the T2 tower. He knows they still have a huge advantage. It's just floating on the trees.
You know, it's also that point where Mikado is slowly going to hit that 18. That's 16 now, just about to hit 17. So you're gonna get 20-second Guardian Greaves. You're gonna get halftime in the Necronomicon. It just gets really, really difficult to actually control Mikado when he's allowed to reach that point.
That is very, very true, John. The cooldown reduction is kind of... Of course, In Your Dream does have the Decil up now. So, a bit more damage output. It's really the survivability of this Monkey King that I'm worried about. He just hasn't been lasting these team fights.
No, he definitely hasn't, and they need to really be careful about where they toss IYD. Miracle right now, he does Stone and Bear. So you are starting to build up on that LD. Of course, the reliance is on that Bear. And we have seen Boom, they've been capable of taking that Bear out. So Miracle has to be very careful about how far he tosses the bear, because once he loses it, and then the resummon comes out, if he dies then, he's not going to be of any use in a buyback.
Tier 2 tower going to be under siege now for Boom Esports, but they will just... T1 aren't going to back though, they are going to definitely secure this Tier 2 tower. There is a Roshan that... Oh, it's not up yet, it's going to be up in a minute 20 seconds, but Boom Esports, that seems to be what they're interested in. They're just sticking around that Roshan pick, controlling the dire jungle and waiting.
Ordinary amount of stress.
T1 has smoke.
They found a scan in the rush, they thought it was up. So we rush over, but there's nothing to find.
So, gonna wait around that mid lane. Boom.
Dreamcell hits that.
A bit.
Dreamcell hits that level 20 point as well, so additional minus armor on PA. That's a total of a -9 with every right click. It's gonna be a lot easier to tear through basically every hero.
Sure.
Dire's courier has been slain. No one is expected to travel swiftly.
That dire jungle. I see down there. Correct. Jump in. Correct. Nobody going in yet. Brings on the school doing whatever he wants. Now BKB's up to kill him. T1 being very, very patient. SBC getting beat up now. Looks like T1 do not want to fight, but the roll was stolen there from high. He has found a new dream on that flank kick. Maybe he's in behind as well.
Oh man.
Now Remnants forward, they want more. And it looks like Joe Cat, he will be alright, he'll walk back to the base. But the Roshan's up. That was just a very, very strange fight out from T1. They just didn't seem to know what to do.
They were caught out, and Drew manages to punish really good. T1, if you actually saw how much damage Miracle Fire was doing, that was a lot. If you actually take care of Dream, well, they're just we're hesitant to throw out the black hole. Even though in that black hole there, I would have taken it, although again, we're worried about the pick. So all of these things are piling up, and Dreamcell, with Aegis and Cheese, going to be really hard to shut down now.
Yeah, not to mention that out of 18.
Oh boy.
Yeah, everything's on a low cooldown now for him. Another second half on the Dazzle. Nice
That's
at 20.
That's just like a 4-second downtime for range and 6-second downtime for melee. It's insane.
Yep. At that point, the Boom Esports will probably feel invincible because this Dazzle does remain alive. Miracle's going to be on the opposite side of the map right now. SQ should scout him out. Rush can slow through it. He's alone right now. He gets blown up by Hyde. When your dream does jump in onto SBC, he is blown through it. You're done now for your dream. He's by himself.
Oh boy. It's a jump around as well. Always just likes easy ability for our floating on the trees, as you mentioned.
Great guarding as well.
Yeah, it really is quite useful for T1. For Boom, sorry, not T1. That was against them. And T1, they need more to come out. You look at Paulson, he's for a Crimson Guard. That would be nice to mitigate the PA damage. I think at this point, Dream Assault's still going to be melting heroes. That's not going to stop him much. Right? Like, block.
Yeah, it's
a bit. Just a bit.
Bottom tower has fallen.
Really so good at this one. He's ready to go. Oh, tier 3 tower and Aegis making difference. When this one has Aegis and Cheese, he's not gonna back off. He's definitely going to go for this. Oh, level already. It's like dies. He just cleans him up. Dream Assault jumps in. They do lose their empire. high ground though. They won't. They'll leave Boom B and we'll just back off.
Yeah, bit of a shame they lost that BZ there. Trigger happy jumping Jokam. Still, that forced the buyback out. So you're gonna be happy taking that tool away from T1, and there's a double damage if they do spot it. So, gonna be a nice pickup for Dreamosol. If they do scout it out. Doesn't do have a ward up, but doesn't reach that rune.
Funny. They're going for that double damage first. Dreamosol trying to get there, and he does get it. Straight in your dream. Still one is gonna dream. So listen out that dream now. They're shooting kick back over. Doesn't drop that. He does want to get it as well. Then he has got up. So now, he's not dreaming, so it starts to do it. Blue Cops out of the market. Now with the other on the Moran, trying to get that piece cover. Moran is fighting back. Now Dream himself is down to the net. Miracle. No Spirit Bear needs. We'll just put it stop. Spirit Bear will come back now after FBC. Inkflow and Tangle here. All the on this ember. And that'll be a dieback on FBZ. Proto now just kind of being left by himself, but he's going after Polison. So many units chasing him. And eventually in your dream will throw you. Proto should be dead. Dallas, he's all going to begin with the Sans, and now he's guaranteed to die, and that's 3 heroes down for Boom Esports without buybacks.
That is almost like a troll level engagement. Boom. I get Dreamosol had double damage, but jump in like that into all of them. You just don't. Not with a black hole, not with a roar up. And that's some really good punishment from T in the game. There's still an 8k lead for Boom, but Dreamosol is... He wants to find for it. He'll find for it.
Alright. So it's, you know, he dies last team fight, but he's not, you know, he's not still hitting very hard.
Yeah.
He has a
That
lot
he
of
is.
hitting. I love Miracle's build, by the way. Look at this. Just ring of protections. 5 ring of protections on one druid. He is literally blocking all the Desolator and Armor Corruption that the has.
That's one way to get it done, along with the AC, of course, on his bear. He's giving himself some tankiness. He's staying alive. That's all he needs. You just never get that in response to a PA, but this is some brain plays from our Nazi left.
Yeah, it looks really stupid, but it's actually kind of genius.
Yeah, I mean, he's still holding on to the Iron Talon as well, because, hey, +2 armor as well. Why not?
Absolutely. Sure. Good. Still looking for the aggressive. 9k net on the good Esports side. Seems that Boom are a little bit afraid of jumping in now. Definitely going to be a bit more cautious as they see they aren't invincible.
We're gonna have to temper it back just a bit, and BZ with no buyback is gonna hurt them. Just play a bit more cautiously. You're starting to see the Beastmaster in play. Of course, the vision he brings is giving a lot more control towards team.
They're just on the opposite of each other right now in that mid lane, just waiting for the right moment to jump in. T1 are gonna just wrap around, make a hook. Green Missile is just trying to secure that satanic PA before he evolved again. I can agree with as well, because it definitely feels like he needs it at this point.
Yeah. He's also he should also hit Q5 fairly soon. So we'll see whether or not he opts for the damage or the daggers. I think at this point you want the daggers for just an additional piece of control with your Abyssal. And the stun is too valuable. I don't know if they really have a damage issue. If they do feel that way, of course, 100% is pretty massive.
Smoke up from Boom. Where are they going, though? T1 they also smoke up. They are pinging out exactly where Boom are, basically. I believe that is because they do scout out towards the placed earlier on, so maybe assuming that their triangle has been taken over, but not quite. Boom Esports have really just backed off into their own jungle. Neither team will actually find each other.
Yeah, again, a bit of a stall out for both sides. Just trying to just some farm, play it safe. You have a blink that could potentially come out from Paulson. Does look saving for buyback first. He wants to prioritize the buyback over any initiation capabilities for his team, which we have seen him expend buyback just to join these fights, and Boom aren't necessarily ready for the Enigma to come back in with a black hole. We've seen them get caught out like that multiple times, so there is value in holding out for that. You take a look at ID, he's saving up for a Heaven's Halberd just to finally have that control for the PA. Dreamercell's been allowed a bit too much free reign in that sense. And you have Jokam saving up for the Ags on the Grimstroke. So that Dark Portrait illusion should be painful. We've seen that solution Dreamercell heroes before. The PA should hurt itself a lot more than it would expect.
Oh, that it will. The Basher coming out on the Spirit Bear, the Miracle, so going to the Abyssal next. It's getting more dangerous as time goes on for Boom. Like, they've had this net worth lead for quite a while now. The whole game, they've been dominating the net worth. It just hasn't equated to that high ground yet. They've been trying. It's not like they've been sitting back. They can't really get through the side of Team 1.
Yeah, they really just can't. They've been held out with that high ground defense, and a couple of bad fights has really put a lid on their progress. They're gonna need a pick off, I think, if they really want to make progress there. Although, Keski.
With lane, Raw, again, Makoto is there, ready to help him out. Perez going to be in trouble going to the TP, bringing towards well done, Jokam. Now they do get a hex off onto that beast pass from they're going up, he's going to FTZ, he just gets blown up. It's a 2-for-2 trade. One buyback out from the Enchantress. To be of Miracle, but he jumped in after this lone druid. Dream, thinking about him, ready for that black hole from the Enigma. Miracle, actually going out of that elite form now, and that's a problem. He is going to die. Dreamercell does kill the kill, because the team already backed down.
There's no buyback on Miracle. So it opens up a lot for Boom. The Roshan is up. That is the third Roshan with a refresh. That's going to be really big. You do want to secure it, and you have the 25 on Dreamercell, actually hits 26. He did opt for the coup de grace damage. So he's just hitting like, just melts through anyone that even dares to face him.
Yeah, 1.2k crit from the Roshan is always nice. He does have a Divine Radiant queued up if it comes to it.
Yeah, Dreamercell's just that player. You know, we've seen him do this on the Raid King as well. If they need damage, he'll step into the plate and just hit the Divine. Doesn't care about the risk.
Way to go. Team 1, they do what they do best right now, they just defend. Miracle is going to be back up in about 25 seconds. We've seen this before though, Boom. They understand in the game. With the Aegis, they want to try and get a Tier 3 tower. Tier 3, they go down very, very quickly. They're just waiting for the lone druid. Crimson Guard will delay things a little bit, and now the Glyph as well. Eventually, Tier A3 will go down, and now Dream is on. He's on the mid-barrel. He does also have to take Panic this time around. Doesn't look quite safe to use that bear. Mind you, if he does get the bear, there's no respawn on it for another 100 seconds. Malithus, that's all that's going to be had. Boom, are we going top as well? Looks like we are. T1 will have to try and take a... Everyone on the really taking full HP, full mana, thanks to the code. First in the tank, down the top as well with the E-Squad, Dream Assault, just gonna back up. That's group actually very low, and if it goes down, Miracle doesn't have one for another 50 seconds.
Oh no. That's their damage gone.
That you just removed from the Smash T1. How much is it? It's about 18.5k being removed from the side of T1.
Oh boy. And one thing we forgot to point out, Mikado, he has a spell prism. That's a 16-second Guardian Grieve. It's a 7.2 second cooldown on a halberd. On a melee target, that's 4 seconds downtime. That's just not fair. Oh.
Get an Octarine core just for the lols. Still
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, Alton?
Alton in trouble, getting a discipline enough, nullify there as well. Can they burst him down in time? No, they blink strike out of there. He does have the Spirit Bear back up now. Again, it's a long cooldown if it does die.
Ooh, hide. Eidolons. Here's out, that range racks.
Going out by the heels, they are coming off the green, the Soul comes in, gets beat up, down the wall is walking forever, which one's Commander's out, the Soul Line has blocking his gear in the base right now. On the other secondary line. They lock him in, not quite.
Oh. Miracle?
Miracle, looks like they wanted to jump in. Wait. You still have the keys on FBZ if they wanted to get himself, but it looks like he will just be happy with having his credit back. He's pretty gone. Brett, done with that back. Now, X is down as well. Brett, that's Roy. They do still have the black hole, but you're watching out behind them. And your Dream gonna jump in, trying to slow this down. Dream is so very helpful, just can't die. Brett now. Getting hexed up again. Final lane of Barrett, Soulmite is there with a double roll though. Dream still has been caught out. Black hole in the background is lifted up. Right? Did he get the black hole? Looks like he got it, but he is entangled and he will die. Now to jump in onto Makoto. Makoto trying to keep me out of there. Looks like he will be successful in doing so. He does have the Edge remnants. Should be fine. They did find Megas.
Yeah, that's everything Boom could have asked for. T1, they can defend against Megas. They do have fairly decent wave clear and deep push potential, but it's an uphill climb from here. Boom. They've gotten everything they wanted. They just need to build up, just go for the final fight. And, you know, you're at that point where Mikado should be able to hit 25 soon, so you can get added armor reduction on the bad Juju, which is really going to help the cause, whereas just help Dreamosol burst these heroes down. You're still fairly far from it for FBZ, still at level 23, about to hit 24, but you're seeing the effect of Kezcude's 20. The Ancients he's been stealing has really helped him secure that push.
Right.
And T1 with this remaining time, they need to find a way to build up. Either save for the buybacks, which all of them really lack, or look for a big item pickup. There doesn't seem to be anything anytime soon, except for Polison's refresh.
It is a rough game for T1. I mean, they can defend against Vegas. They're going to force Boom Esports to try and take the Ancient the hard way. So I can appreciate. No easy Ancients in this game.
Definitely not. And perhaps the play is to stall for tier 5 items? That's a lot of time they'd have to stall though. I don't know if they'd be able to hold out that long. If they could, then it's great. But there's a lot of things that have to line up. I think a lot of this game is hanging off the back of Jokam and Forev landing a Soulbind double roar. You do have the Dark Portrait illusion available now, so Jokam can turn Dreamocell against them. But, oh man, the Hex on Mikado, what's that cooldown like? What's that cooldown? How's it bounced?
8 seconds.
8.8 with a 3.5 Hex. That's a stupid amount of downtime.
Oh boy. Just... And I... Look how I should just go for an on-field now.
100% he should. Just do it, you know? Just drop it even lower, man. Just spam all the spells. I mean, bad juju keeps stacking.
Everything needs 100% uptime before I'm satisfied, John.
Can you imagine the bad juju if you did have Octarine? Like, damn, that armor's not gonna be there. That Golden Miracle will not do anything. They go through that with just 5 stacks of bad juju, and that's really easy for Mikado to cast out.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing his best to try and negate all this minus armor from Boom Esports with these rings of protection. But it's just... It's so hard.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm surprised he's queuing up a Battle Fury at 47 minutes in. Again, it's Mega Creeps. You need it. You need it.
Do it. The next road start seems to be what's been gonna be a while.
Man, when Dream Turkey, that life steal and the triple strike stifling dagger. Wait, will that change it up? And look, I mean, he went for the Hellfire first. He is queuing up the Divine once more. So it could come out. You do the refresh, Paul. Should be able to get those black bolts out.
Double black hole is active. Scanning up, this whole line is up through the mountains as well. Double wall, everything being spread out right now, but nobody is quite there. What the? They've put the Dakota. T1. Spend quite a bit, won't find anything, and now Ring the Soul gonna try and find a way around this jungle into the dire base. Things are out wholesome. Easy target.
That Dark Portrait just kind of melts. Doesn't do as much as you'd expect, surprisingly, from Jokam.
Illusionist Cape is going to be so annoying to deal with as well for 2-1. The Dream Soul's 2k crits right now. Definitely wants a Divine, it's a bit low in damage. Dream Soul's
That is, you know, we've seen Dreamosol. He just likes those big numbers, Mike. You can toss out his boots. Guess you don't need him when you can blow.
Why not? Just get rid of the boots. I mean, he really shouldn't. He really should just stay with what he has.
Yeah, no, there is a chance of a major swing if he does actually finish that Divine and dies. And he has died. It's not like he hasn't. He's died 2 times. But taking massive commitments from T1. But again, they've got tools to do that. They've got the refresh. He is a very patient man. This entire game, I mean, earlier on he was happy committed on one, but now he's been very patient with when to come in. Although that time has but enough to bring the Roche back in. That's all-purpose items, and they're just gonna kill this guy, send him back to sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me the answer.
Tricky one. You have one on the Ember. I don't really know if you'd want it on...
Missiles taken for himself.
Of course.
Here you go. Do it. I don't even remember what the PAX does.
It's the it's a refresh, right? On
Oh,
yeah.
right, yeah, okay.
And that's pretty useful. This at all.
Nobody ever buys it, that's the thing.
Yeah, no, we've seen a couple of strange games. Oh my god, he actually did it. All right.
Why not?
Look at that, 305 movement speed. Look at how fast he's going. This is speed. He is speed right now.
Cool guys don't run.
Outstanding.
John. Cool guys walk at a very steady pace.
434. 434 additional damage. What's the crit?
Don't worry about.
Show us the crit. Come on.
Wait and see if you can find a target. Ink portrait will hit even harder now. 3.5 with the ink portrait. My god.
I don't know if it's a good idea.
He made that ink portrait so much scarier than it had to be.
Dreamo Cell. You gotta be careful.
What's the black hole? Got the roll back up, they put everything back up. Maybe Soul's still in that smoke, waiting for the wave to I mean, they're just playing tower defense on T1 right now. Like, they literally haven't left the base. Like, they can't even push up the creep wave properly.
Yeah, they just can't. It's constantly being shoved in.
Look at Toto, he's keeping up the creeps. He's just killing the monsters behind.
Oh boy. What is this?
I just hide the enemy, maybe the spam still still now. And annoy them to death. Annoy them for a big equal. People slowly on the stage. Venusaur is still waiting to jump in. Oh, Guns jumping down straight on the Miracle. Find it. The Spirit Bear is going to go onto that PA. Now Miracle will be able to morph. Venusaur needs to get out. Ground Strike is there. Soul Line as well. Are they screwed? Wilcox Command coming up. And Venusaur, that will be fine.
They can't die. They can't die because Mikado exists. They just can't die.
What are all these remnants being thrown at him? What's FBD doing?
He's sending a message, Mike.
They just want to strip off the dagger thing.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. Come on.
Be careful of that Lotus Orb, bro. Does have the Aegis, of course.
On the dagger! 2.8.
Torch with death. We saw, who did this the other day? It was Fnatic. Fnatic tossed three from the ancient, used it that way.
Yeah.
Good esports, not being outdone, had to do it this way.
Hi, this
Now the new commanders up. Stormbind is there. Poor T1, this happened to them as well by Fnatic. Jerry can. Trying to get you in your dream by in fact. T4 are still slowly being sieged away here. Kescu just turned into a core somehow on the Enchantress.
it's an artillery strike.
They're throwing rocks. That's all they're doing. Throwing stones.
Oh,
But now, stolen soul mine. This is not looking great. Ruthless man comes out from in your dream, but Forev is dead. And now the ancient is exposed. Dream still has had enough. The old wallet to get the huge black hole. Stolen. I could have crossed his tile. He will black hole every professor's second off before the game ends.
man.
Also doesn't get to use the refresh black hole.
Oh man, Boom Esports. What is this?
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Two draft between Boom Esports and T1. It is an LP Dota and John X5, John. How is it? No matter where you are, you somehow make all the conversations about food, sir.
That's me. I love food. I mean, you know, you're bored. It's 9:17 p.m. Really had full meals. You know, you get kind of hungry. You just think about stuff that makes you happy, and food makes me very happy, Mike. You know what else makes these people happy? Boom. They want to win. That makes them happy. And they start off with the Ember Spirit. It gave them a lot.
10 seconds
but
remaining.
Yeah, you go back to it. FBZ did a lot of work.
5 seconds
It's
remaining.
flexible. It's solid. Why not?
I say the same. Why not? You can just run wherever you want. As we saw, FBZ is very, very comfortable playing the hero. And overall, Boom Esports just looked fantastic in Game 1. Did we mention that? They were just messing around with the side of T1 at the end, doing the whole Fnatic thing that Fnatic does now. Boom Esports is like, no, we're going to do that too.
Oh boy.
Yeah, T1 now. Gonna have to think about their draft quite carefully, as Boom Esports clearly aren't playing around,
No.
you know, for the first half of the game. Once they've established they're gonna win the game, then they'll drag it out and have some fun. T1 for now,
Oh.
they'll go for Bane. Nice easy opening. And okay,
Oh.
we go into the Luna.
Intriguing pickup for T1. There's a lot of flexibility here, whether or not it's a pause 4 or a core. So you can kind of make that work either way here, T1. Flex pick in that sense. Boom, they just pick up the Beastmaster. They can go for it themselves. They've got great push. They've got the control coming out. Not much to worry about here. Very standard from Boom. It's really down to T1 with that Luna. It is different. With the Bane, you're looking at pretty decent control. You're looking at great team fight coming out with that Luna. Again, whether or not it's a pause 4 or pause 1 is up in the air, but I think if you do run the support Luna here, it does open up certain picks, particularly something like the Medusa, which I do believe we've seen Miracle play, perhaps not in T1, but in his different teams. So that's an option now for T1 if they wanted to go for the Aura build. You won't have the Beastmaster to build up even more, but Luna Medusa can kind of work if you just want to get that done.
Sure. I like the fact that they're just changing things up completely. They're just going to try something new, see if the Luna will work. There has been some Luna that do look, you know, unstoppable if they get the right start for themselves. They just get going, and I kind of wonder though why you don't go down the Venge route if you're going to run the Luna, right? Because the Vengeful Spirit, the Luna, the Helm of the Dominator that she gets, and then you just, you know, have a million auras going for yourself.
Oh yeah.
Still, and the Bane's still great though. The Bane's just fantastic and catching out heroes like that Ember, who should be mid, by the way, considering we do already have a Beastmaster. The Coda Ember Spirit coming out. So the Bane should be quite effective in just catching him out and locking him down, which I feel like you were lacking some lockdown in that last game. In all fairness, they weren't able, you know, a real hold on FBZ, nor were they able to keep hold on Dreamers either on that PL. Still, fifth ban out, Boom Esports get rid of the Tusk. Interestingly,
I think it does look like they believe it is going to be the core Luna. It's a fairly early pickup for the Miracle Hero, but it could happen, right? Like, the support Luna has fallen out of favor, so I don't blame Boom for thinking this way. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what Boom go for next. Like you mentioned, Mikado playing the Ember. I think that's more than likely, but you have to remember the flexibility of Boom. I think they've given high this year a couple of times. So you might be seeing a pause for Ember. We have seen teams pull that off. It is rather Boom like to go for your 2 cores, right? Like they tend to go with a core support. So we'll see if that's the case as the draft goes on. Still, T1, they've got to show us something here. That flexibility, you don't really want to hang on to it too long. We've seen drafts where you just toss a whole bunch of cores that can be supports and doesn't end up folding around. They do pick up the Sky. Wrath Mage should be our support, and that does signal a core Luna. Lots of good magic damage coming out here. A lot of damage with the Bane Sky. Like you get the Fiend's Grip, you get the Flare, they're dead. That should be an easy kill, and that does lead to really solid pickoffs for something like that Ember in here.
So then why not just pick up like an LC straight afterwards as well, right? Just start comboing off the Skywrath, I guess. I mean, you could just use the Bane. You wouldn't mind seeing something like the LC just for that added catch. Very tanky offlane, doesn't need much help. Obviously, the combo of the dual Mystic Flare is quite broken if you do have it. Though Boom Esports go for the Shadow Demon, which is a very popular support in China, but in SCA we haven't really seen it very much.
Yeah, it's really faded out from this team. I think in this case, there's a lot of value. Number one, you're going up against a Luna. This is the counter. You just make Lunas of your own to spam the glaives out. It becomes really hard to fight into that. And I'm surprised T1 let that slide through. This used to be banned out every single time we saw the Luna. So a lot of value there for Boom in this pick, and of course it allows you to save people from the Mystic Flare, save them from Nightmare, save them from Fiend's Grip. Really great defensively on top of that.
Well, T1 now, their 4th pick, yet to show us those last 2 cores we need to see. Have a think about this one. You are looking for some kind of frontliner here for the T1 right now. You don't really have someone that can just kind of take the attention away from all these heroes that are quite squishy on the side of T1.
Yeah, I think with this kind of lineup, with the Luna in particular, you need team fight. You need some setup for that beyond single target control. Maybe we see the Mars make an appearance. Maybe we see a Tide. We've seen the Tide a couple of times, and it's the Mars instead. Much more stable. Much more standard, clears out waves, it takes care of the Beastmaster spam, it takes care of the Shadow Demon Illusion spam as well. Right. So it's a stable pick. I think it works nicely into what T1's trying to draft here.
You also have some very, very easy setup for the spear when you get a Nightmare off. It's just...
Oh yeah, that's true.
You just Nightmare and he just spears. You can't really miss. Not that they'll be laning together. I believe it will be a Skywrath Mars lane for the off lane, but you could switch it up if you really wanted to. They are both quite flexible in terms of supporting, I suppose. And Boom Esports, though, gonna make their 4th pickup now. You know, the one problem with the Mars in this game is you are still up against that Shadow Demon. Anyone you do get the spear off on will be able to just get disrupted by that Shadow Demon. Now Boom Esports gonna pick up a Witch Doctor. Not exactly the support duo I think about when I think about support. There you have it. The Shadow Demon Witch Doctor is upon us.
We've seen the Witch Doctor bounce back recently, right? A lot of teams have been going for it, for the sustain. Stun. Those work wonders in lanes if you play aggressive. See who maximizing this? That does mean they already know the mid matchup, right? As you mentioned before, now it's really just locked into Mikado. There's no flexibility to be left. What we are lacking is the Dreamocell hero. What will come out? You know, with how fast this kind of draft goes, the PA can come out, although you will be the magic damage here. Perhaps the Rage King makes an appearance once more. You've got the Beastmaster for push. The Skeletons are going to help that if you do go for the Dreamocell Skeleton King. I forgot that he does have the Arcana.
True. Speaking of, Can't wait for that Queen of Pain one to come out. He's talking about the AM and the Wind Ranger. Who cares about those? Like, all the Queen of Pain is getting her own. Very, very nice indeed.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage, it's the dream! Anti-Mage and Wind Ranger. Oh, it's perfect. You can have Queen of Pain, it's fine.
I'm surprised so many people looked at Anti-Mage and thought, wow, he would be really fun if he was a girl. I never thought of it that way.
Well, you know how weebs are, Mike. I've got no comments on that. Just it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom Esports, final ban out now. 30 seconds left. So, of course, T1 did ban out that Medusa, so they don't have to want to deal with that from Dreamer Cell. Which is fair enough, because they were very, very effective with it in their previous series today. Boom, still going to have quite a deep think about this final ban. Let the time run out.
Dire team pick.
That was a random.
Okay.
Was that a random?
Yeah, I wish I could tell. I don't think so. I think it just skips your ban if you actually just time it out.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Okay. Fine. Just waited for a second.
They could random this though. It reminds me of the one game we saw random. I think that was Sexy Bambo's game, where they last pick a Sky and people were like, was that random? Ah, they do go for something logical, unfortunately for us. It is the Ursa coming out. There is strong kiting potential here though from T1. Like, they've got the Bane, they've got the Sky, they've got the Mars. There are ways to keep that Ursa in its place, but if it gets to an early start, you know, with everything else Boom has, it can come online fast if you do item way. So Boom looks to want to play a much faster game than game 1. And T1, they've tightened up that team fight. How are they going to close out? Okay, they get the Venomancer that they love to pick up every now and again. That tends to be the 4-Ev hero. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case here. It does look like they're going to have to toss that. Okay, it is 4-Ev. So IYD Mars? Yeah, alright. Not quite how I expected the draft to close out, but there's the team fight from T1. There's all the magic damage that you could hope for. There's all the kiting potential for the Ursa Dreamo Cell. I'd say skip the blink. He's probably never going to be able to get that off in a big fight.
Interesting. I guess the Venom does work quite nicely in just kiting Dreamer Cell around. It's very, very frustrating to have to play into that Venom if you are the Ursa.
Oh yeah.
That being said, Dreamer Cell with the Enrage won't really have to worry too much about all this magic burst damage that's coming out. You'll be able to block a lot of that damage out with Enrage.
And it's really going to be about his timing in the Enrage, and of course a BKB kind of fixes all of those issues. So it's the timing in those, but T1, we've seen 4F play that Venomancer a lot, right? From Genisperus all the way till now. It's just a solid pick for him.
It's not doing that DC thing again. All the heroes have disappeared for me now. It's not very nice.
I think, I don't see any disconnection notice. I do see FBZ reconnected.
Okay.
Looks like we're all still in lobbies, so should be fine. Slow start. Dota 2, you know, Dota 2 beta, according to our install folder.
Okay. Thank you for that, John.
What the f just happened?
I don't know, Dakota. I don't know. We'll get into game number 2. It's best of 2 between.
Oh,
no, we won't.
Classic. There's no other way to stop. This is the last game for the night. This has been a tight rope series, and of course, you have to have this. You know, honestly,
what are you having?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, these random crashes. It's happened to me twice, and I've never mentioned it, but you're talking over the end of the game, and for me, when the Ancient blows up, I crash. to desktop. So I'm like, yeah, then I'm like, I don't have stats. I'm just gonna say stuff and hope that you don't ask me for stats sometimes. Because I'm not in game, because it's a beta.
I was gonna ask you.
I don't even know. I don't have leftovers. I'm just gonna maybe pop open a can of pork and beans. Just some classic hunts, pork and beans at night. Doesn't sound particularly healthy for nighttime food, but you gotta eat what you gotta eat, you know?
My thanks will come later, when you least expect it.
I would love a burger. There was some chat about burger.
That's what I was referring to earlier on.
So many good burgers in America. You know, we don't have those options here. We have Shake Shack now, I do believe, in like Manila, but that's for rich people. Like really, it's out of my price range. I've had Shake Shack in Korea. I kind of regretted spending that money. It didn't feel worthwhile. Still, I'm sure everyone from Boom Side's hungry too. They're clumping up bot, so I think they're hungry for first blood, not burgers.
Yeah, considered like making a YouTube channel for food reviews or something.
I don't know how well that would go. I don't know. That sounds like a good. In case analyzing doesn't work for me, yeah, I could just fall back to that.
30 seconds to battle.
Boom's got to deep in but Cute gonna try and scout out if they have a ward by that tier 1 tower. They don't.
They've got one in a pretty nice spot by the runes. But if you spot all of this movement, allow T1 no hesitation to grab those 2 runes up top. Can be an even trade.
I thought we told the observer seeing that there wasn't one on the right side, but he assumes it's on the left side of the river instead. Places it on the cliff, and that would be dewarded very, very early by T1.
It's a
good start
bit
for them already.
awkward. Definitely is, and should help them out. Taking that vision away if they do invest. You take a look down mid, of course, IYD on the mid Mars. This is not something we see too often. You see every now and again. Mikado shouldn't struggle too much. It should be pretty even in terms of farm unless IYD decides to really play aggressive. And he does.
Mars Ember matchup, you wouldn't really expect it to be very fun for the Ember. Makoto may find himself ahead early on, but once you get that God's Rebuke up, it does become a bit harder for Makoto to really put up with this kind of harass that you can push out.
Yeah, so
It does hurt.
it does, and IYD with a slight level advantage already, just leveraging it. Of course, when you're up against an Ember, you can skip the Bulwark. You can't just go for this more.
You don't need the shield. Bot lane, Joe Cam gonna be there on that Skywrath mage. He's there with Hyde and FBC, or rather against them. Because he'll be trying to support Miracle on this Luna. I'm intrigued to see what kind of build we see coming out from this Luna as well, because from what I've seen in other regions, it's been mostly magic builds.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen much physical at all.
The focus still is Ags, even on the core, although we've seen a couple of players go for Mask of Madness, just for early farm. That has also been on a bit of an upward trend. We'll see just how well Miracle's early farm is. I think it's really down to that. If it gets a good start, early Mask of Madness helps you speed up, and then you tend to go into the Ags anyway.
Top lane, Dream Assault gonna make a jump here onto Paulson. That paralyzing cast, doing a lot of work, but Paulson will brain tap. Dream Assault won't be bothering to dive for that bang. Just wanted some harassment out. They do get the salve usage out of Paulson.
It's a interesting build coming out from Kezcute as well. He does opt for the level 2 Voodoo. Not something too common, but up in a Venomancer lane, you've got to have that.
It's very unorthodox, but I do like it. It does help. Like, generally speaking, you usually wouldn't assume you have the mana pool for it, but he does have that very early Sage's Mask as well. He
Yeah,
probably will be able to keep up.
Yeah, Forev is just not doing as much damage early on as you'd expect. The Gale costs him a lot of mana, and for Kezcute to sustain at level 1 isn't too much mana per second, so it's worthwhile just to keep Dreamosel in the lane. And his last hits aren't great, but he's not completely out of it, so he's still finding some initial farm.
Blessings upon a loyal warrior.
Definitely going to be a bit of a challenging lane for this Ursa. See, keep up in CS, because right now Dreamosel is still at 9 CS in comparison to the 14 of the Venom. These Venomances can be quite devastating to play against if they really do take off. You can't come back after some point if their farm escalates way too far.
Yeah, and again, we've seen Forever on this hero multiple times. That was on Genisbris some time ago. But it's one of his signature heroes. It's something that every team continuously drafts for him. He's doing fine. Even if he loses out in this lane, which it doesn't look like, he can always go into the jungle. And look at that! Early earn been running already for Forev.
Great. So I'm going to try and make the jump onto the Venom. Forever will be just perfectly fine. So great feelings to get that early earn now. And if you can find some kills, you can really set a nice pace in this laning phase. So that earn on top of your Gale and poison sting damage is really obnoxious.
Yeah. And of course there's the build-up into the Spirit Vessel, which used to drop you to negative regen. Not quite the case anymore, but still potent. And I think that build off of. Forev is having such a good lane that they can even have Paulson just, play in the jungle, harass Kezcute and prevent the pulls.
No real pressure being applied in his bot lane. BZ just taking care of his own. Miracle is doing the same thing on the Luna. Jokan is there to keep him safe, and Hyde hasn't really bothered trying to go after Luna either. Maybe it's not really about what the Luna can do itself.
Yeah, I think.
I guess as a ranged hero, you can't really chase her down with the balls with FBZ anyway.
Nah. It is risky though to give a Luna this early farm. Again, if they do opt for the early Mask of Madness, Miracle can just dip into the jungle and outfarm everyone in Boom. No one has the same pace as a Luna does in this game.
You're gonna try and go into your drink, make a quick rotation in. Arena of Blood is there, but a nice disruption up from Hyde. FBZ gonna be in a bit of trouble. They do get First Blood onto Hyde, and they also get FBZ on the Beastmaster.
Yeah, that's a really early rotation out from IYD. As soon as he hits 6, he knows he's got to use that arena. I love the aggression coming out from his Mars. And just having that really opens up Miracle's and hits 5 on the Luna. So just a few points away from 6, and once you're 6, no way Boom can really commit to trying to burst you down.
And the nice thing about that rotation as well, Paulson gets to come in and get a free creep wave for himself in that mid lane. Get himself up to almost level 4 now on that paint. Tries to go after the haste rune up at the top lane, but Makoto does chain him up and take it for himself. But that rotation from Inyo Dream did mean Makoto did get a bit more laning presence for himself, as he was struggling up against the Mars. He has caught up a little bit now. Not too far behind in terms of CS.
Yeah.
Down. He knows he's jungling right now. He doesn't have arena, but he wants to just spear him to a tree, but Makoto, he will haste up back into the other jungle, maybe just mid lane.
Yeah, it's not easy for Mikado, and we haven't seen him have this rough of a start. It's not too bad. Like, he does have 36 last hits, but a lot of those are jungle creeps, so not as much value. And T1 so far, taking control of that early momentum. 2-0, less than 1k lead for them. They are making this draft work so far. Boom just not being able to.
Good for TP. Forever won't have the damage output. Secret really wants to get that first kill so he can get those urn charges up. Not quite finding it yet. He may need a rotation onto that Ursa. Also, back on the base, but you don't have the danger to really be set up here from the Ursa. In your dream, he is running back to the fountain, so we could possibly see a rotation out from him up to the top lane this time. If they can find it, they could move into a very early top tier 1.
Yeah, it's one of the beauties of T1's draft. Just having that great push potential with Venomancer is really strong. Like from a fight near a tower, you can just go straight back in. Although it does look like T1 will just drag IYD mid to match Mikado's movement. So they just don't want Mikado to have that good start and really build up on that Ember.
Not really willing to make the secondary rotation yet. Mikado though will. He does go down to the bot lane. Pulls out the joke camp, but there's a TP in from In Your Dream. No, nice head dodge from Pulse, and now FBC trapped up in the arena. Does look at the raw onto In Your Dream. He's stopping from speaking. And so really the arena does nothing. But nobody's dead yet. Either side. 4-on-3 down the bot lane.
Yeah,
maybe they go fast enough. Makoto is being chased by Pop. No, he'll be fine. He'll pop the invis and maybe look back into this.
Really risky though. You still have that Eclipse on Miracle, and isolated like this, it's a really easy time to land all those beams onto one hero. Gonna have to play it safe. And T1, well, they do wait some time down there. But it's not like you were finding farm in Mikado anyway, so it's kind of both mids missing out on some farm. Is freeing up, I suppose, the top lane just a tad for Boot. Dreamwhistle just has to deal with Forev, but you're at the point with the Venomancer where the solos are annoying, the wards are tanky, and Dreamwhistle's farm is not as fast as you'd want it to be.
Well, they're working down Mikado to try and nerf that lure. He'll come down bot or just start forcing that T1 tower. Smoke up from the side of T1. They're gonna start moving towards that top lane. Doing so will leave the lane just before that Centaur came in for a stun. Because of course Miracle's dominated the creep. See a direct trade for T1. But I've gotta say, people have trying to defend their own team. It looks like they can bomb. Maybe just rotate mid. I start harassing that T1 tower mid. Drake, Serena, Witch Doctor, an easy spear off as well. That'll be a very persistent kill. Now Kurt will show mid. You don't really have that lockdown yet for the center. They have the ancient seals, they just can't break the gap without really that Fiend's Grip or a spear from the screen. It looks fine to just ripping it out.
Yeah, and again, you're seeing T1 a little bit more off the map, right? Like they're still maintaining that less than 1k net worth lead. You've got a good build-up on Miracle and Forev, and even YD is not doing too bad despite all those rotations. Still, boom, they smoke up, they want to find someone.
Right. He committed Broad does end up at least finding Jokan in the end. He really wanted to pulse him on the Bane, but the brain set at the end of the day did pull him back up. Meanwhile, top lane Miracle is going to be in trouble. Makoto does find position 1 Luna.
Yeah,
Well,
you know
the creep as well, but he's out of there.
You know the worst thing about that? Miracle cleared out a camp by accident, and he'd actually dropped the Keen Optic. Guess who has it? It was Mikado who had it. So he doesn't have his own. There's 5 neutral items for Boom. That's not something you see too often if you can check that tab. And so for Boom. That's a pretty big one. The Keen Optic, that's really useful. And just having that the Witch Doctor, man, he's just gonna have the sustain, gonna have the reach with the Melder and the paralyzing cast. That's a bit painful to lose out on.
So now everybody has a neutral item. Nobody makes any excuses about, not having the right item, or there's just none. Everyone gets one.
Yeah. Everyone on Boom. No, definitely not. And well, it's a bit of a trade. Boom has found a couple more kills, right? Like they still are behind in farm, but you look at those graphs, really even. We're looking at maybe a 400 swing at the extremes between Dreamocell and Miracle, but that's down to the fact that the Luna just farms a lot faster. You look at Dreamocell. He's building up into the Battle Fury on this Ursa. He knows he has to kind of play the long game. There's no way to fight even if he gets an early item. So he just wants to farm. Save up for a BKB, save up for an Abyssal. Once you have the BKB, it does open up a bit, but boom, you're just gonna have to play the stall game.
That they will. But T1 won't really want to do that. They focus towards the mid lane. Against you. Load up with that concussive shot, and now the Mystic Flare won't actually be enough of the game. What? Does come in from Perez. Now Makoto goes in. Pulse is trying to nightmare. Bucket will still go down here to Makoto. There'll be a roll out onto Perez as well. He does commit that poison over, but he's falling low. Now he's swapping. Been disrupted up. Perez still falling, not quite dead. Still Shadow Poison's got to kill him now. Makoto, he's gone too far. The Eclipse, it will not take him out. Oh. Back out of there. What? Right. A lot of tips coming out for Makoto. He doesn't end up surviving at the end.
KezQ just lived through that. He had Nova, he had the... It's the level 1 Voodoo is enough to a lot of the damage of Forev. That is a bad sign for T1, and we talk about sensitive timings. Venomancer is really sensitive to this early game advantage, because once BKB is up, Veno has no presence. So this is the time for Forev to be strong, and if he can find these kills for his team, then something really is going wrong here for T1, at least early on.
Yep. Still doesn't have a Miracle to rely on that +1 Luna, but he's got a long way to go. Top of the net worth board, and he's maintaining that farm. Keep going at it.
Yeah.
Revisol's ever so close down to that Battle Fury as well. He just needs the Mythical Hammer. It's about 1k away.
Gonna really speed up his farm. Of course, T1 up the farming game. Miracle is just making good pace towards Mantis though. So not opting for the massive Mantis this time. Going for the traditional Luna build for safe build up. Good scan out from him. Should be able to avoid any sort of confrontation from FBZ. And just TP's out.
You drink top lane, he's there with Pulse and the... They commit the arena, easy kill. They'll get it. No problems there. They give the kids as well, you train.
I mean, at this point you're committing ults for Witch Doctor. It's nice, and I like the aggression. It just feels like you should be finding more. They clumped up 3 heroes up top for that. Not a hot you look at Dreamos, how he's just bought. You're just not going for him.
They just have the T2 tower. There is the smoke up. You don't have the... You initiate. They do not feed for it. I don't know if they're gonna have enough damage, but they do go in for it. It's as well. They get the secure on to FBZ, but he will the time. He's gonna die sprinting away on that Venom. But no, I think he does kill off the Bane now. He does stick charge up. Nightmare dodge as... Did he Nightmare dodge?
Looks like it.
That's the time. Is gonna connect. Spirit from in your dream, not really connecting. He will die. It's gonna take more time is all. Actually wasn't as bad as it should have been for T1. It was 1 for 2 trade. They only lose out on Forever. They do find the Beastmaster and Shadow.
It's a bit of a better trade for T1. The one big thing is that, you know, Dreamocell was around and just managed to finish that battle for you. So this is the point when his farm should be able to keep pace with Miracle. Miracle doesn't have a substantial lead despite being on Luna. You know, Luna's one strong point is that tampering hasn't been a high priority now. He's been happy to join his team. So that has given Dreamosol some time to catch up. And he is saving for an S and Y first, so just looking at stats, not actually opting for the BKB. Guess he doesn't feel threatened by 4-up.
Yeah, Nightmare out. Who was trying to waste that Paulson. But it's still a chance for Paulson. He should be able to find it. If the change up from the Flame Guard and Dreamosol will be the one to take the kill.
Just giving your Ursa a little bit more to play with. No camps to clear out now, so slightly inefficient, but they will go mid. They can shove it. They've got FBZ around. They've got creeps. Should be relatively fast.
Very deep gets Aurora. Oh. Nice spear out. No. At least he gets the whole of the Dominator creep though. FBZ, you're kind of forgetting about that. It does give away 200 gold back in your dream. But they found the tier 1 mid tower now. Boom Esports, even at the same advantage. They may go for Erosion.
It's gonna be easy. Got the Ursa. They can smoke up for it. They're gonna find more.
Jokan getting caught out. Can't do much. Those chains, it does double damage. He's gonna go for a very, very quick Roshan. Boom Esports will surround the Roshan just in case. In fact, they found another.
Oh no.
Kind of out of position. Trying to get ready for a Roshan fight. Doesn't really work out.
Nah, and boom, they're starting to build up 6-9, 19 minutes in, a 3k advantage for themselves now. Even Witch Doctor finishing up that third vessel at a pretty decent time. So they've got options available. They've got the items up and running. And P1, their draft was on a bit of a timer. It spikes down, right? Initially really strong with Van Manager, spikes down a bit, jumps back up with Miracle. So the key thing is just to let Miracle farm up, don't have him join these fights. Not gonna win them. Wait for him to itemize on a right click, and maybe afterwards you can turn it around. You need IYD to give you that space, so he's gonna have to show up for the defense.
With the map smaller and smaller, John. I don't know how much time Miracle has on that duel. Hollister doesn't get the Nightmare up on the Ursa. They will get the Witch Doctor though. Kesku does die. Miracle now is going to go back to the fountain, it seems. Picks up his Yasha, almost has the Mad Drop. Okay, find FBZ and Makoto, the change Raw comes out in your drift.
Oh no.
They catch taking out. He does try to get the spear off in time. It's where it's Jokan, but Flame Guard blocks so much of that damage. Now Paulson, he's just punched up on the vein. And he also... Makoto, he spotted out Miracle. He knows he's there. But his teammates aren't too close by. He hasn't got anything really off cooldown, so he won't chase for it.
And that's just a slow bleeding out from T1, tossing heroes one by one in. Can they find Hyde?
Well, they should. Everything is from through it. Keski's gonna try and keep him up through it. They should be able to get an eye out, but Red won't be so much. He will go down. The Eclipse for Miracle does find Makoto.
That's really big. That's a lot for Boom to bleed out for really no reason. We're seeing the TP coming out from Arch Shadow Demon as well. He canceled it.
Dream Soul's not done. He wants to go for more. FBZ doesn't have the book for another 5 seconds. So he'll wait. Your Dream is probably gonna get rolled up. In fact, they'll turn around. Now going onto the Luna, and the ships come out.
Oh man. Ooh.
Marshall now completed on Dream Soul.
Yeah, it's really early timing, and they just want to play fast. They play aggressive. Have to say, Kescute, bad placement from Warder earlier. Placed it inside the arena, so none of the attacks were going out. Unfortunately, still, they're gonna count that as win because they got Miracle. They get the tier 2, and they build lead up. 8k advantage now for Boom. T1, it hasn't been clean. They need to find these fights. But as you mentioned earlier, the map has shrunk. There's only so much space for Miracle to farm up, and he still needs a BKB to be up and running.
Oh, sure. Well, let's see. Mikoto there does go for the defensive, but Hyde is there with destruction. He had an observable around, he's got out Hyde, and yeah, he's gonna die now. Brain sap coming out. He does have help coming forward. Let's just jump in. Raw comes out for him as well. They are just melting. Mikoto's flame dart damage is just burning them alive. He does submit the poison over before he dies. Another double chain's coming out from Mikoto. No follow-up that time.
They're winning all these fights without the BKBs. Now Mikado has a BKB. You're just not gonna touch him. There's no damage. Oh, it's fine. Just a bit of a high ground push. Just twacking at the tower.
Has that ever been cause for celebration?
Yeah, not much. They just force the glyph out and slowly but surely push in. There is still an eclipse on Miracle, so option there. Other thing, and he's split pushing. There's no... There was a bit of an opening because the Aegis did expire. Still, no follow-up without the Luna. And the range Rax lives on 18 HP. If you just leave that alive, because you might as well just kind of deny it, I guess, but they'll hold on. Yeah, IYD doesn't go for it, so boom, 12k lead. No one died in that push. You look at Mikado, 2k in the bank, saving up for the Ags, and we know how much harder Embers are to deal with when the Ag is up and running. Even Dreamocell, you know, he just finished up that Sanjin Yasha just literally 2 minutes ago, is already pretty much close to his BKB, so it's gonna be unkiteable now on the Ursa. And one thing I want to see from Boom is, Kezcute, you gotta stop dropping that forward inside. I think you drop it outside the arena, and that's all I ask for. I mean brain dead? Oh. Yeah, the sustain from Boom is just too much, even with Spirit Vessel here in play. And now that Kezcute has mana, oh, they were twacking Mikado. They wanted to deny him. Dreamocell. He just slapped Mikado around a bit and was like, okay, TP home, it's fine. You live. Just in case. No, and well, you've got a lot of lives to contend with. Not like he actually died. Like, I saw 6-0. He's had the Aegis twice, and the first time he did let that expire. It's starting to feel like he doesn't need it. As long as his team's around him to safeguard him, they've got ways of dealing with T1. Now, I have to say, I really love this. Kezcute's still holding on to that keen optic he stole. It's just so valuable on a Witch Doctor. Literally the worst item to give away. And it's not even Miracle's fault. He didn't want to kill that creep there. Oh. Oh. RYD! What are you doing?
Just happened.
Oh, he blinked and speared. Kezcute, that's it? Oh man.
个没有感情的刷钱机器。
T1? It wasn't. I don't know what to say. That was dominant from you. Found everything. T1. It felt like they were going into a comfort trap with a Veno for Porev. It doesn't pay off. They couldn't find that early momentum, and.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And